Hello and welcome to the 1000 subscribers special. I asked people what they wanted from the man who does the channel that has the subscribees. And I was recommended and asked for a library tour, an updated library tour. So yesterday I spent my entire day reorganizing my library so that I could properly do this. Before we get into the library tour, though, first off, I'm going to announce a little giveaway I'm going to be doing. So none of this was intentional, but hey, it kind of worked out in my favor because it just happened to be an issue I had right when I hit 1,000 subs. But I accidentally bought multiple copies of a book. Two books actually. So instead of trying to go through the rigorous amount of annoyingness to resell them or return them, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to make a giveaway. And this is kind of a bonus that I'm also going to be throwing into the giveaway. So these three books I'm going to be giving away. So if you're interested in these, leave a comment down below. Just say like interested in the giveaway, and I will, take your name down and do a little drawing, probably like a week after this video goes up. So I'm not gonna limit this to only one area. I'm in Canada, so even if it's in Canada, it's still going to be stupid to ship. Cheap shipping does not exist in Canada, so it's really not a big deal. So if you are in the US or in the UK, and you want these books, there's no harm in entering for the giveaway. It's going to cost me a fair bit to ship them, probably the same amount as it cost for these two books, but hey, whatevs. It's just how it is, and it's not a big deal. So this is open to everyone. And yes, it will be costly for me. But what are the books, you ask? So first off, we have this. This is Venom Lethal Protector. I actually picked this up recently for myself, and I found an extra copy of this in a little free library, and I was like, oh, I can add this to the pile. So this is a novelization of the Venom 1990 series Lethal Protector. So there you go. And then the other two are Warhammer books. Now, all Warhammer books usually have a limited print run, so these are actually probably handy to get even if you aren't a big Warhammer fan, because you could resell them for a lot of money in maybe a few months. You never know. This is The Shadow of the Eighth, which is a Minka Lex novel. I've only read the first novel in this series, but I loved it, so I've been grabbing up some of the others. And yeah, this one isn't a series, but you can probably read this as a standalone pretty easily. A lot of Warhammer books of this ilk introduce you to the characters really well, and you can get into it. And the one that I think most people would be the most interested in is Deathworlder, another Warhammer novel. But this is written by a woman. So this is written by Victoria Hayward. And it's all about the the Catachan jungle fighters who are basically like think of like Predator, and that's their entire life. That's what they live. They live in a place called Catachan. That's basically like the movie Predator all the time. As you can see by the outfits of all the characters. And I'm sure this would be a blast and really fun. I'm really looking forward to this. And this is actually a first printing because it was released as a paperback original. So in the Warhammer world, this one could actually be worth a fair bit of money in a few months to a year. But I have both of these books, so I thought I would spread the love. So if you're interested in those books, let me know, and I will send them to you. Now to get to the heart of this entire thing, which is to do a bookshelf tour. So we might as well start here. This is my Warhammer bookshelf, and also some of these things. So, starting off, these are the end of the Siege of Terra. These three books that I have in hardcover, if I ever wanted to resell them, oh my goodness, I can probably get like $400 for them, because these things had a very limited print run, and people love this series, and they want the hardcovers of them. They have really cool hardcovers. My favorite is actually probably the Volume 2 cover, which has this awesome image of Sanguinius fighting off of Horus. But yeah, I love these. I love that series, and it had a great, satisfying ending. So I'm really happy that I own the final books in those series. Hardcover. These are a few of the in the same era, but these are the Primark novels. These are also worth a stupid amount of money now, and I got them. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Here is some newer Warhammer books that I actually picked up this year. That I'm really excited to read. I haven't read them yet. So this is Renegades, Lords of Excess, which is all about the Emperor's Children, which is the Smut Legion. And they're all basically Cenobites from Hellraiser, and I love them. And then there's the Big Daka. I think I'm going to read this one next month because it's an orc focus book written by Mike Brooks, who is one of the best writers in Warhammer today. And then going on over here, this is where I have some of the actual game rule books. So this is the rule book for Warhammer. I think it's the 3rd edition Warhammer rule book, and I believe this is 7th or 8th edition Warhammer rule book. I have some other little miscellaneous things like Blood Bowl, which is another Games Workshop game, which is like basically like fantasy football. That's weird. And then I also have some Dungeons and Dragons books in here. So this is the Fiend Folio, which is basically like a old school monster manual for Dungeons and Dragons. But what's special about the Fiend Folio is that all of the creatures in this actually appeared in White Dwarf, and that's the reason why I got that. So White Dwarf is the magazine that I have a few issues of up here, and this is the Games Workshop's magazine, and they would eventually go on to create Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k, but before that, they were the distributor in Britain for, Dungeons and Dragons. So in their magazine, they had like a contest to make a bunch of monsters, and they compiled them all into there. And then two recent editions, and I'm so happy I made that purchase. They are 2 of the original Dungeons and Dragons monster manuals, which are so flippin' cool, bro. I love looking at monsters. Oh, and then I do also have this. It's kind of beat up, but like I love this cover of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, the 1st edition of that. So that is extremely cool. And yeah, you can see I kind of tried to rebind it a little bit with tape, but I need to maybe properly put this in for rebinding because it's very cool. And then under here, this is where I have my, this is what most Warhammer books now, if you go buy them, this is kind of the size that they're at. So, these are a bunch of them. I don't know how much people will be interested in these, but this is part of the Warhammer Horror line right there. So this is a collection of Warhammer Horror short stories, and there's actually quite a few authors that you might recognize in their horror line, which is kind of cool. I don't think there's any in this one. Yeah, okay, so this one does not have any of the more recognizable names. Most of these are Warhammer regulars. But Warhammer regulars, people who write for the Black Library, are actually pretty skilled as writers, so I'm really excited to see what they do on that. But yeah, they have the Warhammer Horror line. Here's another issue of that. And those are set either in the Warhammer Fantasy, or Warhammer 40k, which are 2 kind of different lines, and they focus upon the horror aspects. There's not a whole lot of them being made anymore, unfortunately. It seems like the line kind of died out a little bit, but it's still pretty damn cool. So the other thing that they also have is Warhammer Crime, where there are a bunch of crime stories told in the Warhammer universe. These mostly take place in Warhammer 40k. I actually don't know if any Warhammer crime stories have taken place in Warhammer Fantasy, but that is just an interesting thing. So yeah, and Warhammer Crime is still doing pretty well, and still releasing pretty regularly, so that's pretty cool. The other thing that's kind of cool about this is I actually have some of the very early, these are the very first books ever released that were related to Warhammer Fantasy under GW Books before they became the Black Library. And they have really cool kind of like clip art style covers. And they have a bunch of really cool artwork inside. and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. And then, yeah, I do have a few Horus Heresy books. This one was actually at my library. This book here, I had to buy it for my library because I was reading it, and then Loomis like clawed my hand, and I bled all over the book. And I was like, can I? What happens to this book? And they're like, we'd have to destroy it. And I'm like, well, I could buy it, I guess. So they're like, okay, yeah, you can have that. So yeah, I bought for like $1. I bought this book, which, by the way, if you look this up online, it goes for mucho expensive money. And also, it's actually really good. So these are from the Horse Heresy line. I have a few of those kicking around. Going down here. Ooh. As you can see, I have some of the more early Warhammer books as well. So this is when the Black Library Warhammer, like their logos are different. So that's how you kind of know they're older Warhammer books. Those are a little bit more difficult to track down in general, but they are pretty cool. This one is a new purchase I got, which is Dice Men, which is actually a history of Games Workshop. So that's really cool. Yeah, and then I got some. I'm kind of diving a little bit into the Warhammer Fantasy as well to kind of explore, because mostly I've been reading Warhammer 40k. So these are all of those. Here is my mass market paperbacks for Warhammer. They don't do as many of these anymore. Unfortunately, there's not too many of them. It's mostly the oversized paperbacks, which are not as cool, but they're still fun. These are from the Horus Heresy line. This is actually my favorite science fiction book ever. So that's a fun little tidbit there, and that is part of the Horus Heresy line. So they do still make a few of the mass markets in Warhammer, because this I actually bought recently, and I was really happy to buy this. Because I read the novelization for Fire Warrior, this book, last year, and I loved it, and it's by the same author, so it's like his other Warhammer book. So they actually just re-released that earlier this year, so I was really happy to get that. This is where we kind of bleed into my other random stuff that are in here. So this has no real theme to it because I had to compensate for losing a freaking bookshelf yesterday. When I was putting my bookshelves together, I actually had one of my bookshelves explode on me, and I had to throw it out. So this stuff was supposed to be empty for any future Warhammer books, but now it's full of stuff, so whatevs. These things are cool. I do have a few of the Fighting Fantasy. I actually had this when I was a kid, but I had it in the reprint version. I believe it was Death Trap Dungeon. I had like a few of them when they were reprinted, but I never played them as a kid. And recently, like literally a few days ago, I played a newer. I had an arc for a Arkham Horror Fighting Fantasy game, so I had to actually like play it and like write it down and like do it all. And I was like, damn, I was really missing out as a kid because they are really, really cool. Now we are going over here, which has, for the most part, my oversized books. I tried to put a bunch of them together. That way, you just have them looking a little bit better. A lot of these are going to be things that I'm going to be making into my TBR for my Patreon readathon with Kelsey from Simon Slashers and Kitty from Spicy Cats Reads next month. So like Camp Slasher, and some of these I had already had in a makeshift TBR, but I wanted to put everything back on the shelves to film this video, and then I'm gonna redo my TBR and stuff like that. So nothing super interesting in here. There's larger books. Then we go up here. There's some weird stuff in here, like there's like issues of like a Famous Monsters of Filmland reprint. I actually know this might... No, I don't think this is a reprint, but this is like issue from 269 from 2013. And yeah, there's just some like weird stuff in here, like painting with like sticker. It's like a sticker book where you like sticker onto a bunch of pictures of cats. And I think that's pretty cool. Some of these books have books that I've owned forever, but I just haven't read, like this one. I meant to read The Road to Jonestown for a bajillion years. I bought that when I used to live in Calgary. Yeah, it's just like this is like a weird shelf. Nothing super cool or interesting there, other than old she's passing. Who's that? Robbie McKamey. Robbie McKamey. This is actually my favorite book cover of all time. This is my number one. My favorite book cover of all time is this, Usher's Passing, uh, by Robbie McKamey. Oh, look at him fly. He looks so fly. Yeah, he's a fly looking man. He looks like a flying man. He could fly, but I just meant he looks good. I don't know. Next up. Now, look away, Kelsey. Look away. There's the Stephen Kings are here. So these are all my Stephen Kings. I actually had way more Stephen Kings, but I kind of unhauled a bunch of the stuff that I didn't ever think I was going to read again and only kept the stuff that I thought was kind of cool and was useful to stick around. Nothing super interesting in that. I got these Dark Towers that actually have those original illustrations in them though, so that's cool. This is not like an original Night Shift. This is a reprint of Night Shift. So, don't be like, I can't believe you got that bajillion-dollar book. I do not. I do not. Here's a weird one I own. This is by film producer Sidney Pink, who made the movie Reptilicus, and it's actually signed. I bought this used, and it's actually signed. So that's really cool. By Sidney Pink, who was a very much of a trash film writer who wrote a autobiography. So that's kind of rad. I do like that I do own one book that is like under Richard Bachman and it doesn't have like presented by Stephen King. I found a book club edition of the original Thinner under the Bachman name, which is cool. I got a few other cool book club editions, like this original version of The Stand. This is not the uncut. I love this cover that kind of looks very like Star Warsy. I've always liked this cover. But yeah, this is a original book club edition of that. And I have original book club edition of that cool looking Shining cover. Yeah, I love that stuff. And then I do have one for Dead Zone as well, but the cover in Dead Zone is not that interesting. A random Grady Hendrix has sneaked in here. This is, I believe these are both Kevin. Yeah, so this is both Kevin, who was a foster cat that I had that passed away after a botched neuter. So they gave me a little bit of hair to remember him by. And then up here, this is actually Jughead's fur, who passed away in January of last year. And I sent the other, because I had this and then I had a vial, and I sent that vial to PAX before she passed. So, and then up here we have the GOAT, the all-timer, the Master of Masters, the Tommy Knox. Tommy Knockers is a terrible book, but I always like to tell people to read it because I want to fool them. I have this one, which is pretty cool. This is like a nonfiction book that was written in the 80s, all about people writing essays on various Stephen King books. So that is pretty cool. And the OG copy of Pet Sematary is pretty damn rad. I love it. I would want to be buried here, baby. Look at that little kitty. Next, you might be like, whoa, Andrew, didn't you have another bookshelf that looked just like this here? Yeah, bitch, I did. It exploded yesterday, so I had to get creative. So now I've got some milk crates. These are some of my oversized books, they're just randoms. Here's another Stephen King book. A lot of people don't realize that Stephen King kind of wrote this book. Like, this is a coffee table book that Stephen King wrote like an essay for at the front of it. And it's mostly just photos of really cool gargoyles, but it's technically one of the weirder Stephen King books because it doesn't get talked about in his bibliography too often. But yeah, he does have like an extensive intro story, but it's mostly just pictures of cool gargoyles, which is also cool. A lot of this stuff is remnants from when I used to have a movie podcast called Triassic Park, which was all about detailing the pre-Jurassic Park dinosaur movies and effects movies. So I have a lot of stuff that was like originally bought in order to be research materials for that. So like these Ray Harryhausen books. This was actually Ray Harryhausen's biography that he wrote. This is a book that was made for a art exhibit of a lot of Ray Harryhausen's old props that was in the Museum of Edinburgh. So I actually had to order the book that was alongside that. And they actually had a really cool digital exploration of that, which you could kind of like digitally explore the exhibit, which was really, really cool. These two Making of Alien books. I love Alien, so these are cool. I just really wish that they had been like a little bit shorter and maybe taller. I don't know. But J.W. Winsler is the master of making of books, and he unfortunately passed away, I think either last year or earlier this year. Rest in peace, King. This is some of my old weird ones. This is another Ray Harryhausen book. This is the World of Ice and Fire, the like this book that's kind of looks like an encyclopedia for Game of Thrones. It's kind of cool. This is like a making of Planet of the Apes book that I have not read, but it's supposed to be pretty good. This is this amazing thing that is like this giant coffee table book that is all about the history of exploitation and kind of trashier films in USA. And it's got all these like amazing, hugely detailed history on all of these very famous cult films that defined America. So that is rad as hell. That is one of the prizes in my collection. I actually haven't read it though, so tis what it is. This is Ray Harryhausen's fantasy journal. What is it called? The film fantasy scrapbook that was written in the 80s with like a lot of his more famous works. A lot of King Kong books you'll see in here as well. Moving over. Bleeding Skull, the 1990s Horror Trash Odyssey, which is an amazing book. This was actually gifted to me by Kelsey from Slime and Slashers. The Bestest Bestie of all time. And then these ones are like some weird oversized books. These are like, but this is a book about space. This is a book about science fiction film. And this is a dinosaur book that was in the movie King Kong vs. Godzilla, only the American cut, and was used to call Godzilla stupid. And I thought it would be very funny to own that book. Oh yeah, Making of King Kong. There's a lot of King Kong books. This is actually for the 2005 Peter Jackson one. And then over here, Scoopy Loopa Scoop Boopy, we've got some cool ones over here. Making of Jurassic Park. The best nonfiction book about King Kong, which is King Kong: The History of a Movie Icon by Ray Morton. Then there's this beautiful book about the filmmaker E.G. Tsuburaya, who did a lot of the special effects on various Godzilla and Ultraman shows. One of the coolest books as far as just the photos in there are real cool. And some assorted comic books. This is DVDs. Big on DVDs. We ain't looking at you, bitch. And then this is where we get into all of my short story collections. So this entire shelf is only short stories. 90% short stories. So we have the 12 Crimes of Christmas and the 12 Horrors of Christmas. What is it called? Oh, sorry, the 12 Frights of Christmas. Yeah, so the 12 Crimes of Christmas and the 12 Frights of Christmas. Something that gets on every single TBR for Christmas, and then I never read them. We've got a Dracula short story collection and a Frankie short story collection. We've got changes, turn and face the strange Jack the Ripper. Don't wanna be vamps. And then, here's Cutting Edge. This is the most disturbing short story collection I've ever read. Some of the stories in here will absolutely ruin you forever. And it was great. It's amazing, but it's like horrifying. and it's like really, really was some of the best short story fiction I've ever read. So if you've never read Cutting Edge, you better do it. Got some weird, the best of science fiction ones here. Then I have all of these weird Alfred Hitchcock presents horror short story collection. Now, Alfred Hitchcock as a person was kind of a bad, shitty man, but these covers are really fun and really cool. I actually haven't read any of them because, like, I don't know if they're all like the worst possible short stories you could read or not, but they are really cool as far as just the general look of them goes. Then we have more of annual fantasy collection, science fiction and fantasy. And then these are my favorite short story collections, like ever, is the Shadows series. So I have read Shadows, Shadows 2, and Shadows 3. Shadows 3 is not here. I had it in hardcover, and I wanted it in paperback. But there was a carnival short story, so I actually sent the hardcover to Kelsey from Slime and Slashers, because she always does a carnival readathon in September, the carnival. And yeah, so I thought it would be good for her there. And then, yeah, there's a lot of really cool, weird ones here. Dark Forces is actually where Stephen King's The Mist appeared the very first time, which is wild to think. Like, can you imagine having a freaking short story in this collection and also having that giant tome, which is basically a whole nother book, which is the quote-unquote novella of The Mist. And it's like one of the most impactful and crazy novellas of all time. And she's like, well, I also have a short story there. So I just thought that was cool. I love this one. I just love this weird book cover. Dinosaur Fiction short story collection. But it's a man who's a dinosaur and he's reading the book. And you're like, what? And then he's got like this weird like, no humans. Humans is lame. Then I've got some Dangerous Women. October Dreams, which is a very well-spoken of horror collection from the love of Halloween from Cemetery Dance, and I've meant to read it for ages. And one of these Halloweens, I definitely will. Will it be this one? Probably not. Tough Voyaging, which is this weird guy who loves cats, so he's pretty cool in my book. Dark Descent is another one of those crazy, giant, far-reaching horror anthologies. Haven't read that one yet. Short horror novels. Northern Frights is a Canadian-specific short story collection kind of thing. More of them. All of these cool things. Oh my god. I should probably put these up. So Terrors and Nightmares are two other Charles L. Grant short story collection that like he edited. And like Shadows is the one that kind of took off. But he had a few others and like very similar names. I should have shown off some of the covers. Like the covers are the reason why you bought this page. Like look at how cool it is. Ooh, look at them hands. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's a skull. Scully Skullerton. Oh, it's a mermaid. Oh, I don't know what's happening there. And then this like, dude is being like, hey, you getting buried, bitch. Anyways. Oh, I don't know if this is entertaining to watch. But then we move on. Do-do-do-do. Now we are continuing into getting into things that aren't really organized very well, but they exist and they're here. Like there's like a making of Jaws, which is beside a book called The Women of London. Oh, which was like a strange case of Mrs. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde. Oh, Miss Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde. Ooh, married when she, anyways. And then like Ray Garton's Ravenous, another copy of The Stand. Some of these are like books I own multiple copies of, like The Shinin. The Shinin, you don't want to get sued, boy. I have the shiny Shinin, and then I got the yellow Shinin, because the yellow is the movie tie-in one, but then the Shinin, this one's just the holographic Shinin. And I'm from the 90s, so I love the holographics. Different seasons. This is Scribbit Wretch. He is the best thing ever. I did not paint him. I do not have the skills to do that. This is a cool copy of Carrie because this is the original 70s movie tie-in version. You're like, yes. Same with this version of The Running Man, which has Arnold, I'm here to be running like a man. Wow. I'm sorry for that impression. Not really. Then these are Kaiju Max, which is one of the best kaiju comic book series ever. It's like a prison drama, but with like giant monsters, where it's like Monster Island is this giant prison, and it's just rad. It talks all about the prisoner industrial complex and everything that you would ever want from a book like this. It has awesome artwork, really cool references, and yeah, no, I just love it. And gets really dark. Like it's like some of the artwork looks kind of cute, but like it can get like dark. It is a dark. It's like Oz sometimes, and you're like, damn. Then I got some randos. Like I don't know anything about this book. Agent Jack, the true story of the MI5 secret Nazi hunter. You go, Jack. Oh, here's a really good. This is The Indifferent Stars Above. This is a nonfiction book all about the Donner Party bitch. Yum, yum, yum. Eat all your friends. I hear all these good things about Celeste Ng. I've never read any of their work, so I gotta do that. Here is an arc that I weirdly found for Camp Damascus, and I'm interested to read and figure out if it's any different from the final project. This is this really cute book about a guy who drives a cat around. It's cute. It's cute. That's a cool. I don't know if that's any good, but that's a cool ass cover. It's a cool cover. Oh, it's the X-Men. A night in Transylvania. Yeah, sorry, there's not like a whole lot of interesting stuff in here. This is actually the rule book to play Lord of the Rings miniature game, like in the style of like Warhammer Fantasy, but it's Lord of the Rings. They got the license, and it was a big deal. The Godzilla comics from Marvel. This, The Evil Dead Companion, is a making-of book all about the Evil Dead films. We've got a lot of other random stuff like the Mothman prophecies. He's got a good butt. He's a Mothman. Here is a weird book that was edited by Boris Karloff, the short story collection from the like 40s, I think. That was edited by Boris Karloff that I recently bought. Because I'm good with money, he says, being very bad with money. Here's an interesting... I love the cover of this. This is like a nonfiction book about one man's relationship to horror. I don't agree with everything in it, but it's really interesting. Oh, skablompler. More random stuff here that is quite cool and good. I don't think I've read many of these. I have read this one. Xenogenesis is I've not read the entire series, but I've read the first book in this, and it was really, really good. And I need to read the rest of them, so I'm really happy I found that bind up there. Dark Mage is one of my favorite covers of all time. It's just like a weird looking guy who's like, oh, I'm trying to get on the internet, hack source with magic. And he's like, no, bitch, you can't. You can't. Here's this big giant James Bond coffee table book. Because I don't know why do I own that? These are those Aragon books that I'm like going to read once and then get rid of. But maybe I'll never read them and I'll just get rid of them next time I do Down Hall. But I read them as a kid and I liked them. Well, I read these two as a kid. I don't think I ever read these two. So there was like a new one that came out. So I was kind of like, ooh, I should relive my childhood. Also, the most amazing post-apocalypse novel cover of all time, Falls Down by Chelsea Quinn Yarborough. Heck yeah. Yeah, there's like some random stuff, like a freaking hardcover of T.D. Klein's The Ceremonies. You're like, alright, cool, I guess. This has some of those Game of Thrones. Another copy of Night Shift. Dinosaur World, bitch. Yeah, not too much very interesting in here. Other than I really need to finally read some of these books. There's like an entire series by Michael Slade, and I've meant to read these forever. They're supposed to be like really dark thriller books, and you're like, yeah, thrilling thrillers. Do. This is a book that I bought because Crystal read it for a Garbagus one year from Fiber Artsy, but I don't remember if she liked it or not. So that's a problem, and it's hard to find old videos of people. Oh, Halloween Land by Al San Antonio, a book that makes it to every October TBR and never gets read, bitch. And then I have a whole bunch of VC Andrews books, but I don't know if I like any of them. So I need to read one of them to figure out if I like any of them. I probably don't. I can probably unhaul. Then we got my smut corner. My Lone Star books. So to clarify, I've only read one book of this series. This book. And I was like, hey, this is fun. It's like this saucy westerns with this like lady, and she is like joined with this guy who's like he's like a Japanese martial arts master. And as you can see, these are mostly smut stories where everyone is getting it on. And I own a ton of them. Even though I've only read one of the books. And I don't know if any of the other books are good. I have just been slowly accumulating them. Every time I see them at a thrift store, I was like, oh, another Lone Star. I'm like freaking General Grievous. Like, these Lone Stars will make a fine addition to my collection. It is sad when they stop the fun, colorful covers and they get to like the uncolorful ones, and you're like, but why? But why, Sandy Claus? Why? But yeah, I own a bajillion of them. And then I also own, I'm pretty sure now I have a complete set of the Long Arm Lone Star crossovers. I have a few Long Arm books here. I'm not trying to collect all the Long Arms. They're fun, but like they're not feasible to get a full collection of because there's like 400 of them, where like I think like there's only about like maybe 150 of Lone Stars, so one day I can get that. But they had like they had like a bunch of like crossovers between them both, and I just have questions. Like I'm like, well, who bones who? Like because both Lone Star and Long Arm, everyone bones everybody. So you're like, does Long Arm like get it on with Jesse Starbuck? Like, is that happening? Maybe he gets with Kai. Like, who knows? But yeah, these are like big ones, and they got like all of them. And I just love this freaking. Long Arm looks like such a dork. Where everyone else is like, yeah, we're cool. And then it's like Long Arm just got him in his cheroot. Anyways, I don't really like westerns unless they're just absolute smut. So. Now you know. In case you thought I was classy, I am not. Not even a little bit. Ain't no class for this guy. No. Now I gotta put these books back, and now it's gonna be annoying. Every time you're trying to put books back, you gotta make a song about it, or people will just skip to when you've solved the problem. I bet they probably already have. Why didn't I just not sing and delete this? Who knows? Anyways, now we have more. These are more of my modern horror books that I have. I don't know if they're good or not. Probably not, especially the Brian Keene ones. I believe Kitty read The Conqueror Worms like a while ago and said it sucked. So, I don't know. Probably sucks. Then I got some more of these. Now we're getting into vintage horror paperbacks. Wow. The Sentinel. But it's missing the page that it's supposed to go to, because there's supposed to be like a step back thing here, but it's missing that page. So now it's just like a weird like, this old man, he's watching you read. Woo. Old man, stop watching me read. Oh yeah, more R. McKamey. Got the amulet. Got some cool stuff in here. Nothing super crazy. I did find this in a Little Free Library was kind of amazing. It's in terrible shape, but this is Night Shown by Richard Trotula, and it has a cool holographic cover. And you know me, I've already talked about my weakness for holographic covers. And also Satan. Look at him. That's a cute looking Satan. That Satan, like, he's like showing up to your door. Everyone would go with him. Glow. This is supposed to be a book about evil joggers, I think. Yeah. It may make you run for your life, or never dare to run again. This is the novel that the movie Death by Phone would be adapted from. Well, technically, it started as a script. They couldn't sell the script, so they wrote it into a book. But then their original script got made to a movie, so it's kind of a novelization in a weird way. But it came out before the movie. Anyways, weird things talking to me. Here's another one of my absolute favorite covers. Is this? Damn. What's wrong with your face, man? December, a book about December that's supposed to be really good, but it's giant, so I never read it in the month of December. Night Train. Thomas F. Monteleone is a stupid asshole, apparently. He got kicked out of like a bunch of stuff because he's terrible, but this is an awesome cover, so, Fourth Privilege. I've always liked this one. I've never read it, though, but I just love this one. It's basically like a bunch of punks are taking out the privileged people. You're like, you go, punkies. Punky Brewsters. Oh, here's another one of my favorite cover. The Taint. It's like, whoa. Why are you turning into a skeleton? Why? We're almost done this room. No pillows. The pillows are for the kitties. The kitties just like lounge there. Oh, hey, what are these? Oh. Okay, apparently I own these two books. Oh, it's a Buffy the Vampire Slayer comic book. And whatever this comic book is. There you go. I didn't even know that. And I'll forget. Then I have a whole bunch. These are a bunch of my vampire books leading into my Universal Monster books. Got some Necroscope books. I never read any of those. George R.R. Martin's Fever Dream. Beat up copy. But I do like that book quite a bit. This version of Dracula is the frickin' it's the 70s movie cover. A little biased. The Bargain. This is a book I bought because of Joshua from Coffee Cats and King, but apparently it's like frickin' Hitler versus Dracula. It really is. That, how in frickin' when Alien vs. Predator came out, it's like, whoever wins, we lose. And it didn't end up being that true because the Predators ended up not being that bad and they teamed up with the humans in that movie. Well, it didn't happen in The Bargain because it's the real whoever wins, we lose, bitch. These are some of those hard to find Dark Horse Press ones for Dracula and Frankenstein, and I have the Wolfman one underneath this as well. Skimp. Here's some more. Here's some more. Look at all of this book. Isn't it crazy town? More of my favorite covers are for the Dracula book and the Frankenstein, the Living Legend. I just love the covers and how it accentuates the best parts of the characters. Count Dracula's Canadian Affair is probably the rarest book I own. It's like crazy rare, but it sucks. So, don't feel too left out if you don't have it. And for the final one in this room is a bunch of random shit. No order to these, not even a little bit. Although there's this Alan Dean Foster book about cats. Well, it's my home. I'm doing like everything in a Willow voice today, and it's concerning. Columbo, A Christmas Killing. This is the book about the Christmas novel about Columbo. It's apparently really rare and expensive online, so I was really happy to find it for a cheap price. Now I'm doing a weird Star Wars thing. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, I gotta show this one. The cover for this one. Dancing with Dragons. I just love this cover. And also, like, this lady's like, oh yeah. Oh, also, here's the one that I recently found at a Little Free Library. Freaking Steve Martin book. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. And the bottom of this. Nothing super interesting. And I don't know much about them. So yeah, that's this place. Next, we're going to my other room. Kitten break. In between rooms, I am blocked by a kitten. I cannot get by. Wow, this is Lou the kitten. Wow, Lou the kitten is blocking my progress. However, will I get by? Very carefully. The savage beast did not attack me today. More kittens. Hello, Asteria. Hello. She's like, why are you Willow voicing this? What is wrong with you? Loomis with your yawning powers. Whoa, he's threatening me. He's like, oh, he's making fists. He's like, you want to go, bro? And I don't. He's too powerful. But Nami's the most powerful girl in the world. And I love you, Nami. Anyways, before we get to the final room, I thought I would show this. This is my new one and done shelf. These are books that I intend to only read once and then unhaul. And if I ever have to unhaul anything, these will be the books I unhaul, first off. But they're books that I don't think I'm going to love or keep around, but they're books that I want to still read. I just think I'll probably read them once and then say goodbye. Say goodbye, say goodbye, say goodbye. Say goodbye, not a lot to talk about these books because they're here, because they will go away one day. So they're not that interesting to me, but they're still a little bit interesting, and I might want to read them. The S.A. Cosby ones that might actually stick around. I've heard that they are an amazing author, and I have a few of them in here. I just don't know, so they're kind of kicking around here. And also, this one is definitely going to stay when I have more room in my thing, because I love this book. I did read this book, and I loved it. Some of these are like Garbogust books that like I just never read in Garbogust, and they're still kicking around. And it's like, you better read them, bitch. If you don't, the ghost of Criminale will get you. The Reba book, I almost will certainly keep this one, but I really don't know where to keep it. A single mom who works 2 jobs, who's in the unhaul shelf, but will stick around. More Garbugger books. Christmas ghosts. Wow, I was just making a joke about the ghost of Criminale. If he showed up on Christmas, he would be a Christmas ghost. I don't know who's watching this anymore. Now on to the rest of the place. Nami's like, why? Why of all the people I was cursed to live with, were you the person? No one else? She's like, no one else was interested? She's like, no one? Fine. You will do. Starting here, this is my favorite shelf. There's the alien shelf. This has all of my alien and predator books, some of which are worth a fair bit of change. I don't know why I'm doing a half-assed Matt Berry impression, but I am. This is Predator South China Sea, the most expensive book in either Alien or Predator. So that's kind of cool. It's actually a really good book, and I really hate that it's expensive because now I can't make anyone read it. This is a prequel for the Predator movie, but it was written before the final film was made and like the final script was released. So it doesn't actually match up with the final movie like at all, but it's 10 times better than the final movie. So what you gonna do? Predators, and there's aliens too, and they're fighting predators. predators. Bam, 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 ba-doo. Look at all of them. Now we're into Resident Evil. And I have all of the S.D. Perry Resident Evil books. I have some Halo books. Oh, I want to show off the best cover of any Alien book while we're here. That would be for Alien Inferno's Fall by Philip Ballantine. And I am so excited about this book because it's getting a sequel. I don't know if it's a direct sequel, but later this year they're doing another version of this book. And I hope they do another amazing cover, please. Please, gift us with an amazing cover, please. We ask you humbly. Some Halo books. Skimpy players. Now we're into some Star Wars books. I do not know how many people enjoy the Star Warses. I do enjoy the Star Warses, but I'm a bit particular as to what Star Warses I will read. I don't really have a lot to say, though. It's like, yeah, there's wars. I'm so tired of all these Star Wars. This is the Galaxy, Star Wars Galaxy movie book, video game tie-in that I read last year. And everyone said it was the worst Star Wars book ever written, but I liked it better than like 90% of other Star Wars books. And I actually thought it was great. So, suck it, internet. What do you know? A lot of things, because it's the internet. This is the Star Wars zombie book, so that's pretty cool. A bunch of zombies show up, and it's like pretty wild, like reading a Star Wars story where someone gets their freaking intestines ripped out, and you're like, damn. I remember reading them as a child, and now their intestines are going. You're like, damn. I haven't read like a lot of these. Well, I did read this when I was like young, but I don't remember too much about it. I remember it starting. It was like Darth Maul's like in a crazy like battle at the start of the book. But other than that, like in like a training ring. But like other than that, I don't remember anything. Now we're on to the Star Trekking across the universe on the Starship Enterprise under Captain Kirk. And we have all of the original Star Trek movies in novelization format, including the best one, Star Trek The Final Frontier. Captain Kirk is climbing a mountain. Why is he climbing a mountain? Why does God need a starship? That's one of the great lines from that fantastic movie, Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. Also, what's this? Well, Wrath of Khan? I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. It's no Star Trek V, am I right? Now we go on to my novelizations. I'm known for these, but not that known because there's much better people who talk about them, but I am a little bit known. It's Alive. I bought this because somebody was like, I did a video on like, talking about how movie novelizations can be pretty good. And someone was like, I've read It's Alive, the movie novelization. I found it to be quite inadequate. And I'm like, whatever, I'm going to buy it and read it. Just to spite you. But I've actually never seen the movie. And I'm actually sure it's probably going to be bad, but whatevs. Then there's Piranha. The movie novelization for Piranha, right beside the movie novelization for Grizzly, which is like a holy grail because I love Grizzly. That's a stupid, terrible movie, and I love Grizzly. I would die for Grizzly. It is so good. Here are my Jaws novelizations, and this is the actual Jaws book, but like everyone wishes it was a novelization because it's not that good. And then there's Jaws 2 by Hank Searles, and then there's the Big Daddy Jaws the Revenge. And also, a bonus is the Jaws ripoff that was sometimes called Jaws 5. Cruel Jaws has a novelization written by Brad Carter. I hope it's better than the freaking Night of the Demon novelization because I read that and it was so bad I unhauled it. Then I have a few of the Encyclopocalypse reprints of... this one's new, is the Scared to Death by Matt Serafini. But then there's also the novelization for Wishmaster. 3 Wishes. I'm the Wishmaster. I love the Wishmaster. It's a weird series. So flippin' geared. Here's a movie novelization for Alita Battle Angel. I don't know, man. Sometimes you just buy whatever new novelizations out there. Then I have some biggies here, like The Fog by Dennis Etchison, for the John Carpenter film. Damn, that one goes for a bit of money. Same with The Thing. Wow. I love that cover of The Thing. I got the novelization for Videodrome by Jack Martin. A few other randos. Some of novelizations for those not so good modern Halloween movies. Gremlins 2, Time After Time. Fright Night, one of my favorite movies of all time, but I've never actually read the official novelization. I did read the more recent book that was like a retelling, and that was kind of interesting, Fright Night Origins, but I have not read the original novelization, which was done by John Scripp and Greg Spector right before they got big with Light at the End. Dark Star novelization, because that's a weird one to have a novelization. Oh, Time Cop. That's not the theme for Time Cop, but it could be. They could hire me. Murder by Death. Whoa. You're murdered by death. Platoon. Deadly Eyes. This is the great movie adaptation, the movie cover for James Herbert's The Rats. James Herbert's The Rats sucks, but Deadly Eyes rocks and is 10 times better than that book. Fight me in the comments if you dare. Oh, and then there's the Rocky novelization. I have the novelizations for Rocky and Rocky 4 coming in, and I'm going to send it to Kelsey. And I think this looks like, if this one is better than the version I have coming in, because I got it from like a yard sale, like with my cat rescue. If this one is actually better than that one, I'm going to send her the better copy, because I know she loves the Rockies. We're almost done. Can you believe it, Naomi? We're almost finished. Everything is becoming the Willow voice. I don't know why. Then we got The Incredible Journey, Species and Species 2. These are books that I bought because Crystal from Fiber Artsy told me they existed because she talked about them in a video, and I was like, well, I gotta have my species. Like they're Cocoa Pups. I gotta get my species. Not too many. Oh, I do like this one, which is a movie tie-in edition of Psycho. This is not a novelization, but it's a movie tie-in version. From the Alfred Hitchcock one. Wow, that's kind of cool. A movie tie-in edition of Star Trek Troopers. Back to the Future. I love the Back to the Future movies. I've not read the novelizations, though. The Airport 77. I know Criminale read that. I don't remember the opinions that he had for it. These are the Omen novelizations. There was a novelization for Omen 1, 2, and 3. And then Gordon McGill wrote a series of sequels that are actually not connected to the Omen movies. And there are original books that are sequels to the novelizations. So Omen 4, Armageddon 2000, and Omen 5, The Abomination, which is just wild that exists. And then we get into the Terminators. And I have 2 copies of the Terminator, the original Terminator novelization. One written by Sean Hudson, the other written by Randall Frakes and Bill Wisher. Then I have a bunch of the Terminator tie-in books, which continue down here. Ladyhawke, the New Nightmare novelization. That's kind of cool. The short story collection. I wonder how many times Freddy says bitch in this. I don't know. I'd have to see. Some weird ones like this. Like, I don't know. I even know what this movie is. But it was a novelization. And I was like, I gotta do it. Oh, here's the sequel. This E.T. Sequel that is a novel form that is like, I believe is based off of the frickin' wild and insane Universal E.T. ride with Botanicus, What I was so happy that I found out this existed and I have this and I was like, I gotta do it. Then we have a series of Columbo and business he shouldn't be in, aka when Columbo solved the JFK assassination, when Columbo takes on Charles Manson, and when Columbo finds Jimmy Hoffa. What? Why do those exist? And then I've got some weird ones, like a Wind Commander novelization. Actually, this is not even a novelization. This is based on, it's like a sequel to the movie. Hoi, hoi, hoi. Sometimes I make bad decisions in life. Well, let's be honest, I only make bad decisions in life, but anyways. Then I have all of these comic book tie-ins, including and a few video game tie-ins as well, and including this book, which is the Joe R. Lansdale Batman story where Batman fights a werecar, which is literally a guy who turns into a car. It's a real thing. It's pretty good, actually, but that's a thing. That's a thing that happens. And here's my copy of the book that's going for the giveaway. Wow, isn't that wild? Also, I didn't realize these existed. These are kind of cool. These Marvel novel series from like I believe it's from the 60s. I thought that was kind of cool. Then there's my giant monsters. Dinotopia, Godzilla, my one Power Rangers book. Rita's Revenge, bitch. The Godzilla, like, YA novel series. I've read a few of those. Jurassic Park. Some King Kongs. Some Pacific Rims. Some Ravenlofts and D&D books. And then there's a bunch of Shadowrun. Some Hellraisers. Hellboy. I mean, he does raise hell, but he is a boy, not a razor. Then this is where more of my vintage horror paperbacks start, including Killer Crabs from Guyan Smith. This should be with my other Frankenstein books, but sometimes you do bad choices. Here is a series of my killer dog books because we're a cat house and we don't trust them dogs. I'm just kidding. I love dogs. But there's Dog Kill, Rabid, Killer Pack, The Dergs. And that's not even all of them. There's even more killer doggy books. You know, Cujo for one, but you know. The Ancient Enemy, which I've heard is awful. I believe this is another one that Josh wrote and Coffee Cats and Kid read. Coffee Cats and Kid? No. Coffee Cats and King read and said it was awful, but I was like, well, I don't know. Wolf's Hour by old Robbie Cammy. Oh, Robbie Cammy. Then I've got, my Jogging Skelly. Always got to point that one out. Here's some more of my oversized books. They're just kind of oversized. I don't really know what to do with them. Here is my bric-a-brac. More miscellaneous stuff that was on the shelf that exploded. So I had to bring it here. Including, it was kind of cool that I found 2 more of those Wolverine books literally today. And also, I also found like a copy of the Fever Dream. I did not realize that Fever Dream by George R.R. Martin had a comic book adaptation that actually looks pretty rad. Anyways, okay, let's do it. Let's do it from here. Some of my other ones. Look at this one. Look at this freaking skeleton. Oh my god, it's playing a harp. I love you, skeleton playing a harp. That's cute. More of my vintage horror paperbacks, including some Robbie Cammy. More stuff. James Herbert's Fog. That's yellow. It's a yellow fog. And then that is Lee Clark's Carnivore, which rocks and is way better than Carnosaur. Fight me, bitches. Don't do it, I am fragile. Nothing too crazy in here. This one is cool. I found this at like freaking for $3. And like, this is Dark Angel. This book goes for crazy money online. I found that recently. I was like, whoa, hello. Ball by old Robbie Cammy. Layer, which is the sequel to The Rats that is 10 times better than The Rats, and my copy also looks like it got chewed on by a rat, so it's thematic. Lost Souls by Billy Martin. My absolute favorite book cover of all time, Spawn of Hell. I just really like this cover. I don't know why. I just like there's like some blood. It's a cool looking monster. Abracadabra. Look at that skeleton bunny. That's not a bunny. That's a skeleton bunny. Speaking of skellies, some more skellies. Some more skellies everywhere. Everybody loves skeletons. I'm almost done. I don't know why, but I've always liked this cover. Like she's like, look at my nails. They're bloody. They're bloody. They're bloody nails. It's weird. Do-do-do. Some Graham Massey tins. Blood rock. It's not just rock and roll, it's blood rock and roll. Book of Shadows. What's this? Some kind of Blair Witch sequel? Oh, I guess not. Slime by John Helkin. Boom chicka bow wow. Joyride. This book that I've never heard of, but it has a step back cover that makes it look like Jaws. I guess it's Jaws, but there's polar bears. I mean, I'm down. Don't tell Mommy I got a weird face. Oh no, she's whipping that face off. Here's a series of great covers by J.N. Williamson, who is not the greatest author ever, but sure knew how to sell a book with a cover. Razored Saddles. I love this cover too. A skeleton riding a horse. The Mall, which sounds like a wild book, but I haven't read it yet. We're almost done. Monster Makers Inc., which has like a weird random Godzilla toy there. You're like, why's that there? Let's do the Mind Wolf again. Oh, Blight. Yeah, this is Blight. Apparently it's all about killer freaking moths, bitch. The moths are coming for you. The moths are coming for you. You will never be safe from the moths. More are Mikamis. Some more Mikamis. Brother Kind, a book that I clearly started. Oh, look, it's Little Ollie face. Little Ollie creeping and peeping. That was a book I started, I think, for like right before Garb August or whatever, and I just never finished it. This book I've always wanted to read because it's about like a bunch of people paying for like a death battle between a shark and a grizzly bear, because yeah, that makes sense. I also like this cover too. Blood Beast by Donna Massa. The Watcher is cool too. It's like a cool step back thing. I'm so scared. He's taking my... He's gonna get me. He's gonna get me. I don't mean to belittle her terror. You know what's worse than werewolves? Werewolves with Nazi eyes. Oh my god. And also anything written by J. Earhorn. Yeah, bad writer. I don't know what's going on here, but I love it. On the final book stuff. Bloodworm by John Helkin. Has an awesome cover. Killer by Peter Tonkin, which I love. Death Dream. I love Death Dream. Night Warriors, which was my OSA pick. And then this one, I've not read these, but I like that there's like the Beastmaker and then there's the Beast Stalker, and they're like sequels. Carnosaur, bitch. Dark Journey. Hob to the Goblin. All about how Dungeons and Dragons is evil, and that's why it's cool. Nightwing by Martin Cruz Smith, one of my favorite Animal Attack books. Death Tour. Oh, yeah. That's not just a normal alligator. It's got a death head. The Nightwalker by Thomas Tessier. Little Brothers. I don't know why I said that like I was Macho Man. Brother. Jade Unicorn, which actually features a unicorn. Hell yeah. Snakes by my man, Guyan Smith. Crib, Creepy Baby. Well, I mean, yeah, no, still the baby's still the scariest part of that cover. I don't like babies. And then, oh yeah, Shadow Child. And to end it off with Making Love. Boom, chicka, bow, wow. So yeah, that's my bookshelf. That's my updated bookshelf tour. Did you enjoy this, or was this absolutely unbearable? What do you think? Hope you guys enjoyed. And yes, remember, if you want to enter enter the contest, just enter a comment below. Toodaloo.